Incremental ratings. Here's a reaction video. In this case, is the latest to date from Piotr Wozniak. Incremental rating, the ultimate cure for intractable items, also known as leeches. Why not this reaction? Because there's a lot left in transition, a lot of taken for granted, some holes. I consider it useful. Then, this is by no means a blind reaction. I have watched this video twice. Not only that, I did my homework, as you can see already. Nice. So we'll provide more or less the maximum value you can get. That is not there. It's implicit. That is very implicit. You may have lost it, or it's really not there. Since I'm not wearing the Supermemo course T-shirt, this doesn't fall inside the course. But I will be mentioning a lot of videos. It's quite sad. It's been a week, and the only comments are from myself. Yeah, I'm super nerdy about this. There are many things. There are quite a few things that people give out Supermemo. One could be, not yes, by the way, is the friction, Windows only, the user interface, the learning curve, all of this. People will move on. They don't even had time to have their first leech, even. So they quit Supermemo without leeching anything. So that's actually a fact. And then, the second is, yes, people will be this reason, but it's because they lack the skill set how to create good items. Then what they do, what they review, is garbage. It's very low quality. Of course, anyone, including me, will move on if I only do garbage, right? Have this in mind. That means that most of the time, what you get is skill-based. It's just a matter of time.
Leeches are one of the top reasons.
That's why the leeches, you can have FSRS and so on, but the algorithm is one dimension and is not the main dimension to begin with, to be honest. It's your ability for knowledge formulation. By the way, he says this is a search. I'm sorry that it's because I have seen that twice, once today and yesterday, and I have this in my short-term memory. I know already what he's going to do. It's not a search. What you do in the image registry is filtering to the first match in the list. It's not a search. Let me illustrate this. I will have to do something else because I have different images here. But let's say, I don't know, I'm pretty sure brain will appear twice, more than... If I do brain, do you see? Brain, cortical, stem, Awesome. But perhaps I have other brain, not in the beginning. This is what search. Do you see? It's midbrain. Doesn't start with brain. Or contains ventricles of the brain. That is a search. What he's doing is just getting the first hit. It's matching the first hit, not a search. To be precise. It's because this will make a difference. The longer your collection, the more images in your collection, the more difference you will have that. Because, hey, I'm not getting the image I want to reuse. Oh yeah, it's because it's ventricles of the brain, not brains, ventricles or whatever. And could be the case that sometimes, like this is a very good example, he has this thing, Siphon matter and 1. Is this a duplicate, or it just happened that it had the similar name and that's it? That's why you should rename and have a convention. Another example is spinal cord anatomy, lowercase, and with an S and A capitalized. What's the difference? I'm surprised his registry names are quite lazy. Like the percentage, all of that. Okay, let's continue.
And people give up Supermemo. I'm learning medical biology. This is a large collection, some 10,000 items.
By the way, well, he talks in present, but this is part of the past. This is a collection. You know that you have the Advanced English collection, but now you have more. If you go to Supermemo store, I saw, oh my god. You have collections. Ah, here you go. Medical biology, yes, it's very old, the same as English. It's just that the English doesn't shift that, doesn't become outdated that fast. Perhaps here the images will be low quality or quite of old style. But that's a bargain. $9. Which, by the way, you can get even cheaper if you use my link. Let's say $8. For 12,000 flashcards, this is massive in the sense of it's like a masterclass how to create flashcards, how to formulate the knowledge for flashcards. And you don't have one example here and there, like in this video, that we will see about 20 different cases. You have 12,000. And they are flashcards, genuine flashcards that Piotr Wojtek created and are still in his collection. This is massive. So could be the case that, yeah, I don't care about the chronology, that is way too specific. But even if it's just a subset, like health, calories, and so on, it's massive. I will try to do, it's on my to-do projects to cover this collection. So remember, link in the description of anything. You can get this collection and anything in the store 10% off. And my link is the only way to get a discount, and it's permanent. Doesn't have to be Black Friday or anything. Any single day of the year, you get 10% off of whatever is in the store. And you will support me because I will get on a small part of a commission of what you pay. This is a very prime example. This is the number one archetype example of a leech. Why? Because asking what is X, what is whatever, any concept you want to ask, is very prone to be leached. Because how many answers there are? It's very open. I can ask what is life, right? That's more philosophical. But what is, I don't know, metformin? I could ask, hey, wait, it's a prescription drug? Well, not necessarily. It's prescription. In some countries, it's not. You can go to the pharmacy and buy it. So, prescription drug that is for the insulin, usually for diabetics, What I could do is to shift the flashcard. And what's the name of the metformin? Or perhaps it's a brand name. So it's not a scientific name, it's one copyrighted name that usually is on the market. That could be a different question. So then going back to this, is because I actually don't know the answer. That's why I have to use a different example. What are symphoma lines? Actually, if you remember, I prepared for this video, but at the same time, I didn't do this on purpose because I wanted to use my genuine knowledge. And it's lacking, I can tell you that. And it will be interesting what will we do. Something with fatty acids. That's correct. It's very vague, it's incomplete, but it's correct, it's not false.
Maybe the molecules made of
That's why what is this? What is X? This flashcard almost never works.
fatty acids and sphingosine. Okay, let's see the answer.
Nice. Mostly ceramides or phosphocholine. Ceramide PX. I'm lacking a lot of knowledge here. Then here it says, let me turn off the captions. Here it says, I don't know what is this phrasing. It's not unusual. I would say it's usual. It's often the case that you provide the correct answer to Supermemo, implying that being incorrect to labs is something rare, which yes, by percentage, it will be 5 to 10% of the cases, for most people. But if the word differs, Could be the case that the wording differs, meaning it's the same answer, it's just with different words, but semantically it's the same thing. I could say twice a week or bi-weekly, it's the same thing, right? Or more complex with a sentence or a phrase, it's the same thing, no worries. In this case you will be correct, unless the question is asking for verbatim. What phrase is imprinted in the coin of that year of that country? Oh, then I want this to be verbatim, not something that is equivalent. But that's not the case. Then, resulting confusion will easily produce intractable items. Leeches. Here there's a lot of stuff mixed together. If you're a noob, you are not going to follow that. Okay. This means that regardless of the wording, if it differs or not, because it could not differ, you just lapse it, those will create confusion. Oh, speaking of permanent, I thought it was this other thing. No. I lapse it, right? It's not that I forgot, which could also be a blank. It's that I thought it was something else. That means that this something else is also wrong, if I mix it, right? I missed this description, and the answer I gave, it's also mislabeled. So are actually two memory mistakes already. But could be that it's not a confusion. It's that, oh, I blank out. That's it. But I'm not confusing with something else. And then how you treat those items that become leeches means that you lapse them a number of times. There's a threshold, 5, 8, whatever, is that it becomes too time consuming. And you need to take action for that. So usually, when you create your own flashcards, you will use your own words. That means that the words you use, you are familiar with them. If you used AI, for instance, or you just did closellation and you left it there from the source, perhaps you use some terminology that you are unfamiliar with. Then you have this as the answer. This is a bad practice. If you have something unfamiliar, it's jargon that I will not have used myself and so on. If it's on the question, fine, because it's what you're being prompted. But on the answer, it's a no-no. What is in the answer, you need to know that, because it's the reference point. You want to trigger the memory and revisit this in your brain, or the synapses. If you use something you're unfamiliar with, that is asemantic. This will become a leech. Because, oh yeah, I know the answer, but the answer doesn't help because what is this? What is that? For instance, if I have this flashcard, for me this is useless. Because I only know mostly. Anything else, I have no idea. So I will just memorize this verbatim. So I will be able to recall in a split second the answer, but that's it. I cannot apply this, I cannot reason. If I have other flashcards with this stuff, ceramides and so on, I won't be able to connect to make the big picture at all, because these are isolated facts. You give me this question, I give you this answer. Why? Because it's like this. It's a semantic. That's why if you use AI and you rely on AI, verify everything. Because if you're very passive, you are prone to have this. Some vocabulary that not today, but in the future, will mess with you. Unless you create other flashcards, vocabulary flashcards to tackle those. And exactly, so the AI can be for anything, right? But do this preemptively. Don't wait to lead everything and then use AI. If you used AI to generate the question to begin with. Yeah, that's usually what I do. I copy this because then you copy the question and the answer field. Even though it adds some characters, usually the language models are intelligent enough to discard that noise.
Cool.
What they do, in case you have this flow, well, I use now Gemini, I have a gem, or in ChatGPT, you can have a custom GPT. That is, I just paste the clipboard, that's it. It already expects the input to be a flashcard. In this case, it's an image because it's from the video, it's not mine. and I'm too lazy to type this in, but I will just paste the text and that's it. So this gem, what it does is simplifies the flashcard. Why? Because it's not atomic. Do you see here it already generates, with this one from Piotr Wozniak, already generates 4 questions. Nice. It's not explaining you anything. It's just dividing the flashcard to be more atomic, by the way. So it's not the same prompt as him. I just wanted to illustrate these flows with gems or custom GPTs you can have. If you use them daily, it's super convenient.
A nice ChatGPT template. What are sphingomyelins?
Nice. So that means this is even not explained. It's only on the captions. That's why I turn on the captions. That he has this flow that, hey, how do I know this is AI generated? Or even more specifically, the model of ChatGPT. Because the background is yellow. He's relying on the template. Instead of typing this in or putting the author as I do, for instance, he just uses the template and so on. Awesome. Okay. Here is one of the stuff that it becomes implicit. He wants to reuse images because he has 40,000 images, but he already covered the sphingomyelins. I will butcher all of those names. Sorry about that. So he remembers he have images for that. But what happens if you see it's only HTML, a very, very big HTML component. There are no image components. If he had image components, he will link from the component right away and you summon the same thing, the image registry. Just to make my point clear, in case you're not familiar, I will do new article. Okay. But hey, I have the image. So I could do links, registry member, or Shift Control K, and then I'm in the image registry already. But he doesn't. You can, there are several ways. If you really want to have topics with no image components, which I'm against this, because why? This extra space is not used to begin with. You're just wasting your time exchanging templates all of the time. I really don't see the point in 2025 to have this, because the screens are large enough. Regardless of that, what if you still have this flow that you have the ChatGPT picture template and so on? You can do Ctrl+Shift+M and adapt and set the template, and then you have the images. Or you can do his flow. It's more, let's say, old school, but has, as always, there are pros and cons. So what he's going to do, he goes to image registry to do any search, and he's going to insert those in the current element. Do you see? It says, create a new component. Why? Because now there's an image already, but he's going to introduce a second. This happened before. It's because he has a template, but I don't know, I'm assuming he doesn't have the same template for ChatGPT with yellow background with multiple image components, or he will use that instead. No, I want to create a new one. Is something in this very precise context is what you want. Then you can replace. There are some use cases for that. And global, and is already telling you that this image is already being used in 24 different elements. Do you see?
Okay.
It's extremely quick. What happened here? Where's the other image? It's gone. And here you have another image component, but it's in drag and drop mode, so we cannot see rendered. And in the next frame are the two images, but look how in the same with they are, right? One next to each other.
That's better.
And look now. He has done some stuff off screen. He has cut this with explaining anything. That's why you can have, let's say, deceiving illusion. Hey, it works like this. Oh, it's super easy, easier than it actually it is. No, it's because he's removing some steps. He applied the template. Also, we can all know that because he only has the element window, so there's no way I can see and verify that. But I suspect. Look at the HTML component. Do you see it's up to here? Is also changes. Therefore, I'm pretty sure that, hey, perhaps he actually has a template for ChatGPT and at least with 2 image components. Then, his flow is very good when you don't know, you're not sure how many images you're going to import, what to reuse. And to preemptively do it by right-clicking and link from the registry is when you already know how many you will do. Those are the pros and the cons. You don't know how many, just in case preemptively you go to the registry. Also, what happens is, bro, what is this? This is not what he got before. It's less text. No, actually, the notice. Look at. I have watched this video twice, and I overlooked this detail. That's what he got. Let me parse the styling. Okay. Do you see? It looks slightly different because I have my gray background and so on. But now he did an extract. We don't see the knowledge tree, so again we are lost. So what happens that the viewer is kind of deceived because gives the very strong impression of one flow that is not actually that flow. There are some steps being done in between. He did an extract. We haven't seen that. He applied the template. We haven't seen that.
Maybe I will now interlink those elements. We use Control G.
Okay. Now he's going to make links between elements. He calls this interlink. I don't know. I think that is not in the documentation interlinks.
This element is.
Control G appears this dialog, and this is actually a byproduct. It's not the intention of this key binding. This tells you, hey, which element number you want to go. If you put number 1, you will go to the root. It's just for navigation purpose. But preemptively is showing you the current element number. So you can use this Control G for go, for getting the element number in a copy-paste friendly way. Because if you go to other places, like the elements window, you cannot copy and paste it. So actually, it's a repurpose of the original dialog.
763, I'll copy that to clipboard. And now.
Okay, in this case, it's fast. Do you see now that's a different element? That's entire text. What we have seen before, actually, this is again deceiving, because what he actually wanted is this, that is an extract. He started linking here. But he goes to what he wants to link, that is the Leeches item, and he wanted to link this. But what he does is linking the parent. Even though I don't see the ancestors window, I'm pretty sure that's the parent. And hey, it's actually not linking, an interlink, which you can also do. It's actually doing a hyperlink. This is just HTML in the text. That's about it. That means that when you click this date, it will go and present the other element in Supermemo. Can you do it? Yes. But this is an outlier case. Why? Because it's very time consuming. And Supermemo doesn't see that. When you go Noodle, those hyperlinks doesn't take into account anything. Only the links. No, if you call this interlink, the hyperlink, you call it interlink, that doesn't count. Are only element to element, element to concept. The links that matter. So this is okay, just in case I care, as a reference, if I see this in the feature, is, oh, I did because of this item. And I click, oh, that's the item. That's it. And now it's easy because he is linking elements that have been loaded in the element window. Therefore, by navigating alt left and right, he can visit the most recently viewed elements. If you want to link something else that you have, yeah, I have this in my knowledge tree somewhere, in my knowledge tree, in biology concept group, you have to search, go there, and then copy the element number, go back, perhaps you visited 5 elements in between, so the left won't be that precise. It's a lot more time consuming. So this is more convenient in this case, that you want to link elements next to each other, like this. But other than that,
But it would be nice to also have a link here. And these are plain text components.
okay. Now, he's going to tell you, he's going to do another link. Doesn't call it interlink, just link. But he's going to do something that is neither of those. We set linking between elements, element to any element, or specifically to a concept, or hyperlinking in the HTML. He's going to do something else, and quite rare. And he's linking an element to a component.
A bit more complex. We're gonna do Control G, copy the element number, and here I need to go to links, hyperlink.
What happened? This element, perhaps you don't know, but because I have actually the collection. Okay, I actually have this collection within my collection. I have medical biology. So that's actually the item, right? Awesome. But in this case, I add that to my collection, and this is an HTML component. Do you see? But in his case, if you have this collection, this is like the advanced English. It's using plain text components. And the plain text cannot have hyperlinks because this requires rich text. Therefore, what Supermemo does is getting the component and the text component links to this element. It's a text component to an element link. You can call it hyperlink, but it's not a hyperlink as in HTML component at all. He says my elements interlinked. No, the elements are not. Strictly speaking, it's a component of an element with another element.
And now I have my elements interlinked. Okay.
Do you see? That means that anytime you click the component, doesn't matter where in the text, because it's the entire thing as a block, will visit the link. That can be problematic in the case you want to edit the text, because if you have the flow that you use the mouse to make it active, the component active, it will trigger the link. And you don't have any visual clue that this component has the link. Until you don't click, you are not going to see it. That means the next time, how do you know you have a link there? So let's say he has more than 200,000 items. How many will have a link? Very few. Only the leeches. And just a few leeches, right? So how do you know, if you don't remember this very same fact that you added the link, you're going to forget that. Therefore, since you don't know and there's no indication, you're not going to even click. Unless it was an HTML component. Compare this. I know this is a link. It's very obvious. What I don't know if it's to the internet or it is something local. You could have a convention that, oh, I already know this will be a local link.
My elements interlinked. Okay. Now we can begin the process of incremental reading.
Now I can begin the process of incremental reading. Then what have you done now, if it's not incremental reading? So, more or less, we could say that all of this time, what he is doing is prepping that, hey, let me put this in a template, that I know what it is. Let me reuse some images about the topic. Let me add some links. Why I generated this text, it was because of to overcome one leech, da 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 da. Editing the video, because he had edited out steps, he already invested more than 3 minutes. When just pasting the text and the images, this will take a few seconds. This is already hinting you how inefficient linking is in Supermemo, and it's the easiest case to link, because you just navigate the last and second last element visited, boom, boom. You don't have to locate that other element.
That's a good thing, because when...
Okay, here we start a new chapter. Okay, here one detail is that he added this text, what he called a souvenir, the incremental reading solution to a thought item and the date. But hey, what happened here? The hyperlink was on the date. Now it's on the item. He did more editing off screen. So I don't know if he preferred that. Okay, instead of the date, this makes more sense. That this item will be a link to an item, not instead of the date. Okay. But again, sometimes I edit this out myself for convenience because it's too tedious. It will be too long and you will be just bored. Da, da, da. But I'm telling you, hey, I cut this up, or I'm going to cut this down. He doesn't tell you that. Then, another thing is that because of this being added, you know how the title works in Supermemo. It gets the first component, text component. That means that it starts with this, the souvenir. So what happens in the as a consequence? That you don't see what makes it unique. You see every time the same thing. Incremental reading solution, sort of item, da 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 da. That is it's not a deal breaker, but it's inconvenient because I don't see the question. Even though, do you see now, it's a lot shorter. Here already, again, edited out the editing of this element. Because he deleted the rest of the text, because it had originally the entire extract. And what happened? Look at the priority, the range. They are next to each other, almost. Not dead next to each other, because, for instance, you have 4 decimal points. His correction is too large. We don't know if this is consecutive, but very close to each other. And look at the intervals. He will have siblings in 4 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 10 or more flashcards in the same day. That's useless. Especially if you come from a leech, you don't want these to be on the same day.
I see I already have 19 elements, but I reworked them. They're a little bit simpler. I keep this.
Do you see? He already edited all of the flashcards and even added some hint. All of this is off screen. So don't take for granted that, hey, I only needed 6 minutes. No. He has been editing this out. He spent a lot more time.
IR solution to tough item as a swing a mile in.
And now we don't know what he's doing because we only have the element window, but I'm pretty sure that he is doing a subset review. But he just created the elements, right? So perhaps he added this to the outstanding to force this. There are 2 ways he can achieve that. Ctrl-Shift-L, so you review everything regardless of the outstanding status, or he added this artificially to the outstanding queue so he can do the subset right away, which it has a lot of cons for me. Nice. I will leave the knowledge formulation out of this video. I only wanted to focus on the most Supermemo and incremental reading perspective, and I will use this as an examples for my course for knowledge formulation. But just to let you know that there is some sauce here.
a little bit hard using it.
That's almost everything about this video that you needed, that it's good to know. Let me know if you have learned something from this video, and let me know if my premise was right, that something was taken for granted, was deleted too much, or borderline misleading, and stuff like this. Let me know, because this will shape how I do the future reactions. That's all for now. See you incrementally.